Hi everyone, happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Allison. I am the recreation therapist from the health center. You might recognize me from my morning exercise groups or from the original Plant Talk with Allison that I think I filmed in January. So this is episode 2 of Plant Talk with Allison. This one is going to be St. Patrick's Day related. I also brought some of my green plants over with me to share some of the growth that I've had since we did our original video, and to show you some other new plants that I will be growing over in the health center. So to start, I have some information about the flora and fauna in Ireland. The national bird is the northern lapwing. The Irish Wildlife Conservancy declared in 1990 that the northern lapwing would be the official, unofficial national bird. I have some information specifically about this little guy. The average wingspan of the northern lapwing is about 2.5 feet across. Their body from tip of beak to the end of their tail is just a little over 1 foot long. They eat small vegetation or small insects or bugs, and they're normally found close to the water. Northern lapwings are also locally called pewits or tuits after the sound they make, and I have a video of the sound that they make actually so that you guys can all hear it. I'll bring it closer to you. That's a video of them flying. So they make kind of like a little peeping noise when they fly around. Let me see, we've got a lot of notes on them. Northern lapwings typically call northwestern Europe home, but in the winter they migrate far and wide, with some birds ending up as far as China, with most settling in India or the Middle East for the cold months. Lapwings will not often come to North America. The times when they have been spotted in Canada or the farthest northern United States were after very large storms. In recent years, the population of the northern lapwings in the UK has declined, and charities have given grants to farmers to leave some of their fields untilled to provide densely covered ground for nesting. So that's a little bit about the northern lapwing. To move on, the national dog breed, which I did research a good amount, is actually a bit of a situation over there. Obviously, there are a couple that are pretty well known. Like when I think of dog breeds, I think of the Irish Wolfhound. But there's also been some talk about the Kerry Blue Terrier, and I have some information about that as well. So this is an article that's titled, "Is the Kerry Blue Terrier the National Dog of Ireland?" It says the answer to this old age question is a very simple no. The Kerry Blue is not the national dog of Ireland. However, as with most things in Ireland, a simple answer cannot be given to a simple question. There are 9 native breeds of dog from Ireland: 4 terriers, 2 hounds, and 3 gun dogs. These are the Irish Terrier, the soft-coated Wheaten Irish Terrier, the Irish Blue Terriers, which are the Kerry Blue, Glen of Emal Terrier, Kerry Beagle, Irish Wolfhound, Irish Setter, Irish Red, and the Irish Water Spaniel. All of these believe they lay some claim to the title of National Dog of Ireland. A lot of the history talks about how Ireland is, it was split originally, and now it is the Irish Republic and the state of Northern Ireland. There's mythology and legend that would suggest large hunting dogs would encapsulate a breed resembling the Irish Wolfhound. They don't know the actual type of dog that was in the ordinary folklore of that time, so they can't really identify which dog breed would be considered the national dog. During the time of British occupation and plantation, the ruling class most certainly kept Irish Wolfhounds, which are often referred to as the noble dogs of Ireland. Before the Great Famine in the 1840s, the population of Ireland was almost 3 times that which it is today, and the feudal system operated by absentee British landlords ensured that the native population of Ireland was poor. The common dogs of Ireland had to be hardy and practical. They had to be herders, guards, pest controllers, hunters, companions, and most of all, economical to feed and keep. Terrier-type dogs were developed to meet the needs of the people. There is much colorful folklore surrounding the origin of the Irish Blue, spaniel swimming ashore from the Spanish Armada, but as we already know, the Irish Blue was gained by selective breeding of the oldest type of Irish Terrier, the soft-coated Irish Wheaten. So, there really is no record, more of just a speculation that right now it would be the Irish Wolfhound or the Kerry Blue Terrier. Those were the 2 that were kind of identified in my whole researching of this topic. Let's see. And now getting to the things that I relate with the most, the national plant of Ireland. So, if you all could guess what the national plant could possibly be, if you guessed the shamrock, you are correct. The shamrock is also referred to as a trefoil plant because of the 3 kind of forms of it. So it says the holiday, which began centuries ago as the feast day of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. The modern version of the Irish holiday may have strayed a bit from its roots, but the shamrock is authentically Irish in nature. The 3-leaf clover, a type of trefoil plant, has been considered the unofficial national flower of Ireland for centuries. Irish legend says that St. Patrick used the shamrock as an educational symbol to explain the Holy Trinity to non-believers. The folklore solidified in the public conscience in the centuries after Patrick's death. Around the 17th century, the shamrock's importance began to converge with religious celebration of the saint's feast day. Those living in poverty still wanted to look nice at church, and luckily for them, the appropriate adornment was growing on the ground. The Irish botanist and cleric Caleb Threkeld wrote a treatise on Ireland's native plants in 1726 that explained the shamrock as the country's national symbol and asserted its significance in the context of St. Patrick's Day. Threkeld wrote, "This plant is worn by the people in their hats upon the 17th day of March yearly." Continuing to explain why the plant was relevant that day specifically, Threkeld said, "It being a current tradition that by this 3-leafed grass he emblematically set forth to them the mystery of the Holy Trinity." When a wave of Irish immigrants came to the U.S. in the 18th century, there were no shamrocks growing in New York or Boston or San Francisco. So while they celebrated their heritage with parties and parades, they substituted for the color green, which is why I have all my green plants here today. The shamrock remains one of the most popular symbols for St. Patrick's Day. And of course, all of the products focus on the color green. Got some more info. Continuing on with the more planty nature aspect, the national tree is the sessile oak. They also give some accounts to the strawberry tree, but I have a lot of information about the oaks that are talked about. So the Cecil oak says it is less famous than the English oak, but no less loved. The Cecil oak towers in the woods. Squirrels, jays, and badgers love their acorns, and caterpillars flock to eat their leaves. In fact, 326 species of wildlife are found only on an oak. Some quick facts about the Cecil oak. It is a deciduous broadleaf tree, and it can grow 20 to 40 meters tall. The leaves are dark green and lobed. So I'll bring this picture closer so you can see a little bit of what I mean. Got little lobes growing on there. Let's see. The flowers of the Cecil oak. It has male and female flowers that are found on the same tree. Male flowers are green, and female flowers are inconspicuous clusters of bracts, which are modified leaves. They kind of stick out, and they resemble red flower buds. After pollination by wind, female flowers develop into a large shiny seed held in a scaly wooden cup, commonly known as the acorn. Young acorns are green, maturing to brown before they fall. The Cecil oak has stalkless acorns, which can be compared to the English oak, which have a little bit of a stalky part before their acorn. Oh, turn the wrong way. You can find the Cecil oak in Ireland, obviously, and other native areas of Europe. In England, the oak is a national symbol of strength. Over its lifespan, an oak tree can produce as many as 5 million acorns. Oak trees support more wildlife than any other native tree. They provide a habitat for more than 257 species of insects, which are the food source for birds and other predators. The bark also provides a habitat for mosses, lichens, and liverworts, and deadwood cavities can be nesting areas for birds or roosting bats. The acorns are eaten by a number of birds and mammals, including the jay, badger, and red squirrel. Flower and leaf buds of English and Cecil oak are the food plants of the caterpillars of purple hair-streaked butterflies. The soft leaves break down with ease in autumn and form a rich leaf mold beneath the tree, supporting beetles and numerous fungi, such as the oak bug millcap. There's a lot of mythology and symbolism that is revolving around oak trees. The oak was sacred to many gods, including Zeus, Jupiter, and the Celtic Dagda. Each of these gods ruled over thunder and lightning, and oak trees are often hit by lightning as they are the tallest living feature in the landscapes. In England, the oak is a national symbol of strength. Couples were wed under ancient oaks in Oliver Cromwell's time. Oak is the emblem of many environmental groups, including the Woodland Trust. Oaks also produce one of the most durable timbers on the planet. Every 5 to 10 years, depending on conditions, there's a bumper crop in what is referred to as a mast year, when the tree produces up to 10,000 acorns in one season. There are other uses of oak. The leaves, bark, and acorns were believed to heal many medical ailments. Acorns have also been used to make bread flour, and tannin found in the bark has been used to tan leather since the ancient Roman times. To keep going, I also found some information about sacred and magical trees in Ireland. Oak is obviously one of the big ones. It was identified in many numerous Irish prehistoric sites, which would connect it to the folklore that we know about today. Another sacred tree is the hazel. In the ancient days, the 9 hazels of wisdom grew at the source of the river Boyne. Hazel, as such, is considered the tree of knowledge in Irish traditions. Under the laws of the neighborhood, hazel was granted the highest rank as a noble of the wood. Hazelnuts were undoubtedly an important source of seasonal food in Ireland and elsewhere. The nuts have to be picked on a dry, mid-autumn day when they are about to fall. There's also a quote here. 2 hazelnuts I threw into the flame, and to each nut I gave a sweetheart's name. This with the loudest bounce me sore amazed, that with a flame of brightest color blazed. As blazed the nut, so may thy passion grow, for 'twas thy nut that did so rightly grow. That was Thomas Gray from the 1700s. The next sacred tree is a rowan. Rowans are symbolic for generally protecting the home, and as such, a rowan should always be planted next to a house. The rowans are known for counteracting the effects of negative energies. Let's see. There's also a legend surrounding the rowan, which tells of the forest of the Douros. The Dedanans, the fairy host, dwelt there, bringing scarlet rowan berries from fairyland. One of the berries fell to the ground, and out of this grew a huge rowan tree. It's believed that eating one of the berries, which tasted like sweet honey, would make a person very happy, and they would even live to be 100 years old. Let's see. Another tree is the ash. The ash is a native to Ireland, and it is considered 3 of the 5 greatest legends of trees of ancient Ireland. So of the 5 types, 3 of them were a type of ash. Internationally and as parts of Ireland, it was thought that by placing an ash leaf in the left shoe, a woman would meet her future spouse immediately. A traditional verse reveals that ash, together with oak, was regarded as having the power to reveal weather information. If the ash leaf appears before the oak, then there will be a very great soak. But if the oak comes before the ash, then expect a very small splash. The next tree is a hawthorn. Traditionally, no one cuts the lone hawthorn tree, as this is the meeting place of the fairies. Indeed, roads have even been diverted to avoid cutting one down. The hawthorn is generally seen as a tree which brings good luck to the owner. Originally, the hawthorn was considered to be a tree destined to bring bad fortune to the owner. It follows that to bring any part of the tree into the house, especially its flowers, will result in someone in the house becoming ill. The next tree, which I think is our last one in this group, is the elder tree. According to the Irish tradition of the elder tree, it's said that it is an evil tree. Some believe that the rod used by St. Patrick used a branch of the elder in the form of a sacred rod to remove all of the serpents from Ireland. So the superstition is that it will also ward off all the bad spirits. Or in that case, the bad serpents. So that's some of the Irish folklore surrounding animals and plants and trees. So I will move on to my own green plants that I've brought in. I have, 7 of them to show you all today. I'll start with the one up front. I brought this guy in the first time I did Plant Talk with Allison, which was probably 2 months ago, maybe. And now this guy is my spider plant. He has grown substantially since I had brought him in last. I'll bring him up to the camera. You can see he's got his wiggly little green hands coming out here. I think in preparation for the summer, when he will be able to shoot off little spiderets, which is how they reproduce, he started giving out all these really big leaves. So I'm hoping I'll get to see a really strong hand coming out with a little spiderette, so that I can propagate it and get a couple more of these. The spider plants are symbolic of hope during hopelessness. So it's a good plant to have around. Let's see. The next one, I'll do this guy in the back. This is my ZZ plant. It's called a ZZ plant because its real Latin name is crazy to pronounce. It's Zamioculcas zamiifolia, if you can remember that. But other than that, you just call him ZZ. He actually, a couple roots are coming out. Let me hide that real quick. ZZ plants actually come from a bulb, and they have tubers that'll grow up and shoot out these little glazy leaves. They have really, really great green leaves at the top. I'll try and get them as close. They describe it as glazy because you can see as light kind of hits it, they get nice and bright. This one right down here is actually new. That's a new growth. He is very cute. I thought it was going to be a little bigger than that, but I'm okay with that because he is very small and tiny. I also think, I just repotted this, but I think it's outgrowing this pot again. So next time you see it, it might be in a bigger pot, and it might have a lot more little babies coming out of it. We'll go to this guy next. This guy was also on Plant Talk with Allison the first time. It has grown since, which I love to report. This is my bird's nest fern. You can see with the fronds that grow outward, the inside of it resembles the center of a bird's nest, like how you look into a bird's nest and see a couple little eggs in there. It is considered a rosette, and I think the first time I showed this guy, it didn't have a new growth on it. So I will show you what we're working with over here. You can see this little guy growing right here. That is our newest growth. And if you look in there, you can see the rosette. So this is the bird's nest fern. The one thing I like about it is it is an evergreen, so it doesn't really flower. And the folklore behind that is that the evergreen, it's an evergreen because it wanted to wait to choose a season to bloom. It saw the peonies blooming in spring, the lotuses in the summer, the chrysanthemums in autumn, and the plums in the winter. And before he knew it, the year was up, so he just decided to be an evergreen. But he is beautiful. He does like to be cleaned, as a matter of fact. Whenever I spray it, I've got my mister over there. Whenever I spray it, something about the leaves just make it attract dirt. It looks dirty all the time. Let me see what plant I have next. Oh. I'm just going around town with this. So this is a new plant. I just recently bought it. I wish I had shown you this a week earlier because one of the leaves just opened up. So it would have been nice to show you what it looked like as a little unfurled leaf. But this little guy, its official name is called dumb cane. It's also known as mother-in-law's plant or mother-in-law's tongue. It's got this really great white splotchy stuff in the middle, but it can be variegated into a million different things. They still pretty much have this green and white situation, but the way they're shown can be a little different in each one. They like it nice and warm and humid, so I put it by my humidifier. Yes, I have a humidifier for my plants. I'm very serious. It flowers in the summer, so I'm hoping I can give this guy a nice environment to flower so I can show you all. Let's see. Oh, I just recently found this out when I was researching it. It's called dumb cane because the sap of the main part of it is actually pretty poisonous, and it can cause your throat to swell to the point where you're not able to talk. So I will be washing my hands every time I touch this plant. And I'll bring it up close to you so you can see these colors. And it's got some very nice colors, and in the middle here, hope you can see, there's another little guy that's growing. We've got a couple little itty bitty leaves at the bottom that should be sprouting up sometime soon. I kept the little notes that they give you on this one just in case I need to go back and look up anything else. Okay, this is another new one that I just got. Got dirt all over my hands. It's called a Holly osmanthus. It's also known as devilwood. I'm trying to repair mine a little bit. It's got some brown spots on it, so I'm hoping I can give it a good life. It's also known as false holly because it looks like a little holly bush. It is an evergreen, so not too much will happen with this guy, but it can grow to about 6 feet tall. I'm hoping that doesn't happen because I do not have a space for a 6 foot tall shrub. Oh, it does flower. I have in my notes that it will flower, which makes sense because holly has the little berries, but it does have a sweet smelling flower. So I'm very excited to see that now that I know about it. I'll bring it closer for you guys. You can see it's got, I'll try and angle it. It's got this little twiggy stem right now because it's not too big. And that's my little false holly. You can see it's got that, I'll try and get a good leaf. It's got that holly type of leaf that's prickly on the sides. I'll put one down. And my last true plant is new. I just bought it as well. I was out of control. I bought 3 new plants. But this is ivy. I put them in this nice little bowl. Ivy, if it doesn't have anything to hold onto with its roots as it grows up, it'll just kind of grow down. My plan is to have this guy grow up. So I kind of put it in this taller type of pot so that if it needs to hold on to anything, it can hold on to the sides for now. It is considered a weed in many countries because it grows so quickly, and it is hard to control, so I'm hoping it stays in this pot for a little bit before it gets too crazy. But I'll show you. I'll bring him a little closer. One leaf just opened up. I can show you a little guy. But that's him. This little guy on the outside just opened up. He was itty bitty. I always like just playing with it. It makes a funny noise when you run your hands through it. And the last guy that I will show today, I couldn't not show him. This is my moss ball. He is also known as Bob Moss. If you ever come into my office or if you see me walking through the health center with my plant cart, Bob Moss always comes with me. He is a great talking point. But this is my little green moss ball. I actually just cleaned him. So I'll try and get you guys a good close-up of him. I have had him, gosh, probably about a year now, maybe a little more than that. You can see him jiggling around in there. He is just so cute. I don't know if you can see through the camera, but I can see that there are a lot of little oxygen bubbles on him. The funny thing about the moss balls is that every once in a while, depending on what kind of a container you have him in, like right now I have him with a whole lot of seashells at the bottom. If you leave him too long sitting in one spot, he will just conform to whatever it's laying on. So I had to take him out a couple times and roll him in my hand to make sure that he turns back into a moss ball form and not just like a little blob in a clear container. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed learning about some of the plant life and animal life in Ireland. I'll make sure I do episode 3 of Plant Talk with Allison sometime soon. I'll bring some other plants in for y'all. Let me know if you have any plant tips. I'm always open to it. Gotta keep these babies alive, you know. So enjoy the rest of your St. Patrick's Day. I hope I will see you all soon.